Why, hello. That was cool. Sometimes the intros write themselves. It's great. 16 minutes past 10. Sorry for being late. I was having too many good conversations. So actually it's kind of your fault for having them in Discord. And also get some water. That's the rule. You should know it by now. Today, as I've said a few times, if you haven't been around during the other stream that we've done, I am without a voice mostly. I'm kind of taking things chill, giving my voice a bit of time to rest, he said, while currently streaming. I want to stream because I enjoy it, but I'm also, when I'm not streaming, I'm then like trying not to talk as much as possible. I fell ill, and I'm also singing at a friend's wedding on Sunday, so I have to look after my voice until then. So, we're gonna keep things chill. I'm not gonna freak out today. If I do freak out, it will be with my body and not with my voice. My voice will remain sleek and soft and resonant. It is lovely to see you all. Are you being kind to yourself? Did you did you have a good day? If you didn't have a good day, that's okay. Just know that you are very welcome here. And that I hope you have a wonderful day further as well. But if you don't have a wonderful day further, that's also okay. I'd love to hear how your mental health is doing out of 10, or your physical health out of 10. Feel free to let me know. And yeah, it's quite a dramatic entrance today. We have some very interesting people here. Taters, Aracheesy, Game Boy, happy Fallout Day. Ember, oh, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, welcome. And who else has said hi in chat? Have I missed people? No, I haven't. And me, I've said hi in chat. Right. As I've said before, you're very welcome here. I would. This is a little too extreme, I think. Let's keep this nice and chilled now. There we go. Some more meditative music. That's good. Welcome to the Tots, who have made a request of our music analysis today, and before they go to bed, I'm going to be doing it first, just for them. So you can you can think of yourself as very lucky. As I said before, yeah, let me know about your mental health, your physical health, stuff like that. I'm gonna have this. This is how. Hang on. This is how cough medicine is packaged in Korea. It's quite nice. This one's like strawberry flavored, and you have these little sachets. Sometimes it takes a while to come out. Pause. Draft picks. Do you mean hear me out? Wait, what did I... Oh, this is Tater. So on Saturday morning, could we do draft picks? I feel like we do a lot of the talking for you during draft pick streams. Honestly, fair. We could do a draft pick. Yeah, let me, we haven't done a draft pick in a long time. Let me do that. Hold on. I'll change that after the stream. Although it doesn't feel like you're asking for a draft pick purely to look after my voice. I have a feeling that this is a selfish desire, and that you are simply looking for an excuse to do another draft pick. You know, you could do one without stream, right? Like, you could just do one on your own. It might be a little more sad, but it's just you saying, hear me out, to yourself. Today on the lineup for music today, we have another track from Epic the Musical, which is great. The last time that I listened to an Epic song here was the first time that I'd fully given Epic the Musical a good listening to. And when I was done, it was Thunderbringer. And when I was done, I then listened to the whole album from start to finish as I was cleaning the house. And now, and I love it. I think it's really, really cool. So I've been converted into a fan for sure. Not that I ever disliked it. It just wasn't really on my radar. And it's great now. I will say, like, there are definitely songs that I like more than others for sure. But you know, that's how an album works. I think the whole musical has been crafted really, really well together. So yeah, I'm fully aware of the song that we will be listening to today, just because I've listened to the whole album. So that's going to be the first thing we listen to. The second thing we listen to, I believe, is going to be an Ember request. And so I'm glad that he's here today. From someone called Yaelokre. I think that's how you pronounce it. Possibly. I think you put a pronunciation in the music requests chat, so hang on, let me see. Yaelokre. Yeah, like yellow ochre, yeah. And this will be Neath the Grove is a Heart, yes. And then when we're done with that, we'll go to some diesel punk, which is pretty cool. I think you might like the genre. It's called Blood Red Dogs by Paul Shapera. Not to be confused with Shapiro, which is a different family name that not a good person belongs to. I don't work this Saturday, so I can take part in it. Well, I mean, now we got to do it. Okay, Arachizi, a draft pick is where we it's basically a section of, like, we go into the D&D monster manual, and we have like I've made a table with like scores, and basically we rank. We, like, pick anonymous monsters from the draft based on, like, a couple of criteria. And we make a little team. And then we rate them based on, like, how cool they look, or how fashionable they are, or, like, how powerful they are, things like that. So, yeah. And then we kind of have we have, like, a rating system at the end where, like, the most points gets the most thing. They win the adoration of their friends. There's no real prize. It's just fun. So because it's a draft pick, you do like one at a time. So it's like everyone's monsters are anonymous, and then one by one you go, I pick this monster. Well, I pick this monster. I pick this monster. And you kind of see how they interact together. It's pretty cool. The next part of the musical comes out on the 31st. I know. It's really cool. I'm very excited for it. Yaelokre was on my list to recommend at some point. They're amazing. Ember has amazing taste. I'm aware. Ember has great taste. A lot of the coolest, and I mean, I say cool, but also a lot of the weirdest stuff that has been really interesting to analyze has come from Ember. So, yeah, very cool. High fives all around. The person who made the Thunderbringer animatic we watched, Neil Illustrator. That's an unfortunate. It's a pretty cool surname for your job, you know. I'm aware that that's probably not his real name, but still, it's quite funny. Made one for God Games that just came out. It's really good. Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So, I think we should just get into it, you know. So we have 3 tracks to look at, and we're gonna start. Hang on, I've been tagged. Oh, wait. Thank you, Taters, for reminding me. I already put it in my phone, but thank you. I'm going to start off by listening to Suffering now. Now, I know that you are all here looking I know that all of the people who are like already Epic fans are interested to see another animatic. I think we can watch one if you want me to. But the first time I listen to this, I don't want an animatic coloring my perception of the song. I want the song to be in your mind and your ears only. Use your imagination, all right? The animatic, when you look at visual art, it shapes the way that you listen to the music. So I'm going to listen to the music first with no animatic, and then we can do the animatic as well. No. But because, Ember, the animatics are great. Like, they are really, really good. But yeah. Oh my goodness, Koji is here. Did you name yourself for that reason? Like when you called yourself Koji is here, like did you expect for that to happen? Like for me to say, hey, you're here, but because is here is part of you get what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, welcome. Pull up a chair. Grab a drink if you haven't got one already. Alrighty. I am going to start us off with Epic the Musical. Yeah, Koji, if you couldn't already tell, my voice is still not 100%, so I'm keeping things nice and chill today. But yeah, welcome. Koji and I are doing something really cool together, which I will make a full announcement for on at another time in the Discord. But for now, if you guys want to know, on the 1st of November, I will be doing a script read with Koji and others for the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and we'll be raising funds for the World Central Kitchen, which is very, very, very exciting. So I'm really excited for that. That's going to be the 1st of November. I will put an official announcement on the Discord. It's 8 p.m. EST, I think, which is going to be 9 a.m. for me. But yeah. Yes, and Koji and Taters worked together on the Lord of the Rings script read. Yeah, it was lots of fun as well. That wasn't the goal, but it's been an amusing byproduct. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it. All right, people. Let's get going, shall we? We will begin first with... Oh, wait a minute. That's better. We begin first with the song Suffering from the Thunder Saga of Epic the Musical. Now, thankfully, this is a track that is not copyrighted, which is great, so we can just listen to it all the way through. I do recommend, if you give music recommendations, you give ones that won't strike us with copyright, just so we can, because if they do strike us with copyright, we tend to we can only listen to like 8 seconds at a time, and then analyze those 8 seconds and then keep moving. But for this one, we can listen to the whole thing. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna listen to the whole thing once through, and yeah, I will give you a little bit of context because I think that's important for the musical. If you don't know anything about Epic the Musical, this is a tale of the Odyssey. Homer's The Odyssey. It's the tale of how Odysseus, the general, is he Greek? I think he's a Greek general. He lives in Ithaca with his wife and his son, and he leaves to go fight in the battle for Troy with like the Trojan horse and things. He's responsible for the Trojan horse. And then in Homer's The Odyssey, it's the story about how he gets home from Troy all the way to Ithaca. On the way, he interacts with like all of the gods, and they all like make his journey a lot of like very difficult. And he's also chosen by Athena, who's like the goddess of warfare and strategy and stuff, and wisdom as well. So she's like looking after him, and she basically like vouches for him in the gods' circle constantly, despite the fact that he continues to piss almost all of them off at some point. And slowly but surely, the amount of people that he travels with gets less and less as they all get killed, like as they go through, until finally we get here. I don't want to spoil the rest of the Odyssey, just in case you kind of you don't want it spoiled, because you want it to come out naturally with the Epic Musical. But Epic the Musical is based on that story, and this part is Suffering, which is, I believe, I'm not gonna. Like I said, I'm not gonna spoil the rest of the song, just in case something else at the end of Suffering comes out. I don't know if it tells you what's going on, but at this point, Odysseus has been sailing for a while with his guys, and I believe this happens. Let me check the. Hold on a second. This is the first song in the in the Thunder saga, which is the saga over the ocean, over part of the ocean that they take to get home. And it starts off with this, where they are greeted by some visitors to the side of their ship, and it ends with, you know, Zeus himself, where we listen to Thunderbringer. So yeah, it's a pretty cool conclusion. I think it's all kind of them on the ocean, and I think the Thunder Saga focuses quite a lot on how Odysseus changes as he goes through this, and he becomes quite brutal. So yeah, we're gonna listen to this now. This is Suffering. Most of the gods deserved it. No, it's true. The Greek gods are complete dicks. We should know this by now. This is the start of Act 2. Yes, it is. It is. Yes, I knew that. Also, yes, Ember, you should submit your writing for our writing analysis streams. Anyway, this is Suffering from Epic the Musical. Oof. Nice clashes.
Don't you miss me?
Oof.
More than you know. Then jump in the water and kiss me.
So this is his,
I've told you this before.
his wife's voice.
You know I'm afraid of the water. I'll make sure that you are safe and sound.
Little drum comes in.
Come play with me and our
Nice kick.
daughter, and let's watch our love leave the ground.
Elements one by one coming in. Very nice.
But I'd be suffering trying to float the whole time. I would take the suffering from you.
You can really feel the beat in the background. I would love to sing this.
Fine, but only if you answer a question or two.
Of course.
Okay, so let's say I was on the run or hiding from, I don't know, Poseidon.
All the elements
Let's say
come
he blocked
back
the way
and
home with
withdraw
giant waves and giant storms.
for the voice to
How
come
am I
through.
evade him? How am I to get home? Which route should I take? Where am I supposed to go? He will chase you high and low, so find a place he'd never go. The one way you'll get home is sailing where he's scared to roam. Oh, it's through the lair of Scylla.
Scylla.
This is your only way home, the lair of Scylla.
But Scylla has a cost.
Well, you asked and now you know. Now jump in the water. Penelope, why? You know I'm too shy.
And we come back to the main chorus.
I would take the suffering from you. For you I would die, but can't you let me stay dry? I can take the suffering from you. You should come onto the ship. We'll jump at the same time. I will take the suffering from you. The things I do for you.
Okay, cool. So I love that they actually don't spoil what's going on here. I'm gonna spoil what's going on here, so be prepared for spoilers for like what happens next, right? But I'm gonna tell you musically how we know that it's weird. Okay. So, firstly, I love this song. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's so I love how the melodies are almost always stepwise from the I can't spoil it yet, but from the female part, the melody is always quite flowy and quite stepwise. Dun, 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 dun. Those stepwise moments are very they allow for quite a velvety texture and transition, which is really nice. Then I can I can talk about the I will also talk about the way that the way that different motifs are used here. Obviously, the composer of this track is is going to. The composer is already really good at using different characters' motifs to teach us something about the musical. This is one of the biggest tools that a musical composer has in their toolkit: the theme of a character or the character's motif. By using a character's motif, you can Pavlov your audience's brain into expecting the character to come on stage when their motif plays before they're even on stage. If you write a good enough motif that gets in someone's head, and then you play it enough times when the character's on stage, the audience, the listeners, will associate that character's appearance with that motif so well that two things can happen very interestingly. First thing is, as I've said already, the motif could play and the character's not on stage, but you think of them and you expect them to arrive in some way, or another character's thinking about them or something. That's a really cool way you can use motifs. The other way you can use motifs is the way that this song uses it, Suffering, is where you change something about the motif. And that's it. When you change something about the motif, if the audience knows the motif well enough, they will know that something is up. They'll know that something is wrong, right? And this is what happens here. So I'm going to spoil this and the next song. It's very clever. But first I'm going to use motifs to explain. And then you know what we can do? We can actually play the next song. I think it's Different Beast, yeah. So let's go here. So I'm gonna describe like what's going on here story-wise through the motifs, and then we're gonna go into Different Beast and I'll show you like why it's weird. Okay. So give me a second. How do I get into this? I've been meaning to. Game Boy, you start by going to Spotify. If you have Spotify, here is the link to the playlist. You follow that link, and it will take you to the official like chronological order of all of the songs from Epic. Like the composer himself compiled this, right? And he there's also a playlist like this on YouTube, but you should look for him. Like he does it specifically. His name is Jorge Rivera Herranz. Yes, it is. And yeah, so he's done he's compiled a playlist of all of his stuff, and you can go and listen to that. I recommend you listen to it in order because it's a musical, right? He also has a Discord and does breakdown videos on it. Yeah. No, it's good. I would suggest, Game Boy, that to avoid like being overwhelmed with information, that you just start with the music. Just start by listening to the album like you would a regular musical. And then if you want to learn more, you can learn more like online and stuff. I like how a lot of animators' headcanons of Odysseus tucking his hair behind his ear here were canonized. Really? That's so cute. Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind spoilers, there's some interesting things I hear I can't say. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. So for context, obviously this guy Odysseus is sailing, and he is talking to. No, he's sailing with other people. It's interesting that you don't hear them at all. Like you're just hearing him, right? Usually when he's sailing on a ship, you hear the other sailors in the background as well. So that might kind of tip you off that maybe something's a little bit weird. Like, why is he the only one there? And then later, then obviously the person that he's talking to, he is calling her Penelope, who's the name of his wife. And we go, interesting. Why is he talking to his wife all the way out here? She's supposed to be back in Ithaca. So story-wise, that's already something that's weird. But then, musically, we know that something is off. Because when Penelope, there's a rule that Jorge has here, the composer for the whole musical. The rule is that creatures and gods and like non-human entities have something more added to their theme, a sort of mystical element to their motif. And I want you to listen very quickly to what she does here. Like, listen to these musical elements here, and then when she says, there you go. So she says Penelope, Penelope, but it's different from all the other times he's imagined Penelope. This music is different. And again, remember, as the composer has already stated, characters have their own instruments for their own themes as well, as Ember has now stated as well. So Penelope's instrument is viola. There's no viola here. Oh, have fun, Game Boy. Yeah, go listen to it and come back. Yeah. So there's no viola here, which should tell you, that's weird. What's going on? Why is it just voices? And also, why is there that mystical element as well? Are we dealing with something else? Yes. A new hand touches the beacon. That's exactly what it sounds like. And then she starts to sing. But what's so interesting about this is that even from the very beginning, when you start hearing Penelope, Penelope, you're like, oh damn, this is Penelope. But if you've been paying attention, you realize this is not Penelope. And that's how musically Jorge manages to convey this effect to you through the use of character motifs and the fact that he's changed the motif so that you know something's wrong. And now, knowing that, I want you to go to Different Beast, and we're going to listen to how this one works. Listen very carefully. Things kind of change. So they've just spent some time singing together about how, like, get in the water, things like that. And then...
Let's cut the charade, you are no wife of mine. You've been trying to take my life this whole time. I know underwater there are packs of you hiding. Yeah, I know exactly what you are. A siren.
And there's a hissing as well.
My real wife knows I'm not scared of the water.
He's not scared of the water.
And my real wife knows I don't have a daughter.
Uh-huh.
But while you were so focused on turning my men into snacks, you didn't notice that your friends got snatched.
What?
We are a different beast now.
And that's it. I'm not going to listen to the whole song because we're here analyzing Suffering, but that contextualizes everything else in the previous track. For Suffering, he explains the reality of what's going on here. And that is that he knows this whole time, by throwing in little bits and pieces that only his wife would know, that this is not his wife. This is actually a siren. Creatures that feed on sailors by luring them with their song, pretending to be their lost loves, things like that, luring them into the water and then killing them. So with Suffering, she sings to him and creates this incredible melody that she has such fluid control over. And it's interesting how Odysseus's voice here is such a lovely counter melody to that. And the way that they sort of dance together makes you feel like it's sort of natural, but it's all a design of the siren. This is all what the siren kind of puts up. So we are technically in Suffering. We are technically listening to the siren song, which is really cool. And the way that Odysseus plays along is that, yes, there is magic there, but he knows that this is a threat. He knows enough about the water that in his mind, it's like, wait, this makes no sense. I've got to check something. He doesn't exactly know what it is yet until he starts placing the seeds and going like, actually, this is, let's talk about my daughter. And then if he tests her and if the voice of his wife continues on as though he didn't say anything wrong because he doesn't have a daughter, he has a son, then we know that something is wrong, and he knows that something is wrong too. And he talks about, I'm too shy, I don't like the water, and he talks about that all the time. And she's like, doesn't matter. Just get in the water. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it kind of, the way that it is musically portrayed is this. Listen. This is basically the thing I kind of want to focus on. Here we go.
I would, but I'd be suffering, trying to float the whole time.
That's one.
As good as that sounds, right here I'm just fine.
That's two. That's three. Okay, so when she continues to not address his point, his specific point, and say, I'll take the suffering, don't worry about it, I'll take the suffering, that's what makes it feel like a disconnect, even though their melodies are correct and like moving so fluidly together. It's been constructed in such a way that the notes make complete sense, but the way they are structured is different. So listen again to this tiny segment. As I've said before, the way that the siren says, I'll take the suffering from you constantly, lets us know that she's not addressing the substance of his words. She's just interested in getting him into the water, which is what sets off the alarm bells in his head. But with the next part, I want you now to focus on the actual melodies of both and how they are different. Listen to, okay, this hand is Odysseus and this hand is the siren. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
But I'd be suffering, trying to float the whole time. Take my suffering from you. As good as that sounds, right here I'm just fine.
I'm going to make them closer to make the point, okay?
You know that I prefer my feet on the ground. Take my suffering from you. Fine.
She's catching him. The melodies are, he's running away from her and she's catching him. How cool is that? So when he sings, da, 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 he gets lower. Da, 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 he kind of sings up there, and she slowly comes from the top and goes, da, 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 and she's trying to chase him. It's so cool. The melody, the siren melody, is literally chasing after him. It's really, really cool. And you'll note that when he picks up when she leaves off, and then she picks up when he leaves off, and the notes that they are singing they fit with the chord that is being played as well. It's incredible. It's really, really, really good. It's fantastic musicality. It really, really shows how musical the composer is for this. Okay, do you know about the stuff with polities and suffering? No, I don't. Please inform me. Sorry for answering late. I was in the middle. Jorge explained the siren's powers rely on people hearing them, so the beeswax is why she's getting details incorrect, like the daughter thing. Ah, yes. So there's another very important part of the story, is that Odysseus ordered all of his he ordered all of his men to stuff wax in their ears to stop the sirens from hearing, because he knew that sirens were on this water. He was prepared for them before he got there. So so their powers don't work exactly as intended, because they rely, as Ember said, they rely on being heard for their voice to be really effective. So he can actually listen to her as she is usually, because her spell really doesn't have as much of an effect on him. And he's pretending to play along. It's also why there's an open arms melody hidden in the song, because she messes up the melodies of people Odysseus cares about. That is freaking awesome. So as I said, if you know the motif well enough, you will know when the motif is incorrectly used. When it comes to a musical, especially a musical like this, that tells such an intricate story, you must assume that something cool that came out, like a motif is here, a motif is there, assume it's intentional. Always. I think it's a good good starting point to assume that the composer has intended to put this here, and then move with it. And then if there's any extra information you can glean from like listening to the composer talk elsewhere, like Jorge does a lot of his own expansions, as Taters have said already, about how he talks a lot about the motifs and the way that he does everything very purposefully. But yeah, assume intentional. There's such a staggering amount of intentionality to every minute detail of this project that continues to leave me in awe. That's 100%. I agree 100%. And the more that I when I started listening to it, I was like, damn, this is cool. And then as he's done such a stellar job of introducing us to the themes that I was also like, as an attentive listener, as you go on through the album and as they develop, you can feel that intentionality as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. So the point of this is to point out some of the more individual pieces and try and help you understand why you are feeling so cool about this. And that is because musically, so much care has been put into this, So yeah. Ember, feel free to let me know about the polity stuff, or are you or was the polity stuff the beeswax stuff? Is that what happened there? Yeah. So now that we know, and now that I've talked about pretty much the main thing that I wanted to talk about was the way that themes are used here to manipulate us and to make us, if you are not an attentive person, or let me put it a different way, if you are listening casually, if you're a casual listener, then, this is a great song. It's still a good song. So you are rewarded for your casual listening. And it's pleasant to listen to. But for deeper listeners, there is also a reward for listening deeper and hearing the way the motifs have been changed and manipulated around to warn you that something is not right and things like that. There are rewards for both the casual listener and the deep analytical listener. And that, to me, is the main reason why this entire musical is amazing. Because the composer intrinsically understands that any audience needs to be able to potentially listen to his stuff and enjoy it, no matter how they are analyzing it or how they are listening to it. It's wonderful. Oh, that was the open arms stuff. Yeah. Because, okay, so a little bit of context. There's a song earlier. Hello, Alex. Welcome. There's a song earlier in the musical where Odysseus is talking to Polites, and it's a song called Open Arms. And there's I think the motif is da 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 dun 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 dun. That there's an open arms motif there that comes up here, but the siren tries to do it, but because her spell isn't working on him, she kind of messes it up. Let's see if we can find it in the actual in the song. Now that I've done all of the main analysis that I want to do, I want to listen to it once more through the whole way. We will use everything that we've talked about now. See if you can listen to more. See if you can pick out more stuff. And if you can, feel free to share it as well in the chat. I'd love to hear I'd love to continue to hear your perspectives on things. I'm writing a sci-fi title sequence at the moment, so you shan't have my full attention for the moment, but I'm here. Oh, well, it's good to have you here, and I'm glad I'm on in the background to help soothe you. She does Polites' motif instead of Penelope's on accident. Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Let's see. I want to see if I can... I'm not expertly familiar with the actual melody of the motifs. I'm not sure if I'll catch it, but if you tell me when it happens, that'll be very interesting. Let's try and hear for something more. Here we go. Last listen, and then we'll move on. I love the constant vibe, how the rhythm changes. It starts with a very basic 4/4, boom, 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 boom. It's just this constant march, right?
And jump in the water and kiss me. Penelope, I've told you this before. You know I'm afraid of the water. I'll make sure that you are safe and sound.
Oof, those stepwise movements.
Play with me and our daughter, and let's watch our love leave the ground.
Oh, she says daughter first. Cool.
Trying to float the whole time. I would take the suffering from you. As good as it sounds, right here I'm just fine. I can take the suffering from you. You know that I prefer my feet on the ground. I will take the suffering from you. Fine, but only if you answer a question or two.
The rhythmic complexity is great.
So let's say I was on the run, or hiding, from, I don't know, Poseidon. And let's say he blocked the way home with giant waves and giant storms.
Oh no.
How am I to evade him? How am I to get home? Which route should I take? Where am I supposed to go? He will chase you high and low, so
Still stepwise.
place he'd never go. The one way you'll get home
It's sailing where he's scared to roam. Oh, it's through the lair of Scylla.
No.
This is your only way home, the lair of Scylla.
But Scylla has a cost.
Well,
The siren's
you
voice
asked
is
and
amazing,
now
by the
you
way.
know. Now jump in the water.
Penelope, why? You know I'm too shy and terrified.
I would take the suffering from you.
Ooh, for you I would die, but can't you let me stay
I
dry?
can take the suffering from you.
You should come onto the ship. We'll jump at the same
I
time.
will take the suffering from you.
The things I do for you.
It's such a lovely song. It's so easy to listen to. It's so easily pleasant in your ears, you know? And I think part of the reason, I think one of the main reasons it's so easy to listen to is the stepwise melodies. The knowledge of melodic like progress, like how melodies progress into each other is something that he really fully understands, Jorge, in this instance. I will say, and I'm not saying this to be a nitpicker, but there are a few songs in the whole album where I've taken a look at some of the way the melodies jump, and I'm like, there's a choice. But for the most part, I think that there's been an incredible understanding of like how melodies flow into each other and things. Like sometimes a jump doesn't feel supernatural for the voice that's singing it and stuff like that. Yeah, I checked. It's not motif, it's instrumental. Oh, okay. She's using Polites' instrument, a mallet, instead of a viola with just Penelope's. Oh, wow. So she's pretending to be Penelope while using the instrument that's meant for another character. That's cool. That's really, really cool. So that, yeah, Taters, it's not about like, it's about the whole track as a whole. Like she's using the instrument that Open Arms was meant for instead of Penelope. I'll be in the car for a bit, so it might be more laggy for a little. Okay, that's fine. All right. I wanted to listen to the animatic for it, but I do want to move on because we have 2 more songs to listen to. So you feel free to go and find an animatic for this already. It is a great... There are lots of different artistic interpretations of the scene. One of my favorites is showing the siren to get more and more impatient. The more she says, "I will take the suffering from you," and the more he like stalls, and she goes, "Oh my God, just jump in the water so I can eat you already, please." Like it's very funny. It's really good. It's alright, I was wrong anyway. Okay. Computer just froze playing a B flat on a French horn A4 for a solid minute. That sounds wild. Some people were saying that the reason she said daughter was because one of the other crew had a daughter. Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Alright. Are the other songs kid appropriate? Well, yeah, Ember, you'll have to say so. I think, yeah, Ember says that his song is kid appropriate. And Arachizi, are you here? Can you tell us if your song is kid appropriate? And then we can go in. But we'll start with Ember's first. Good morning, Thomas. Welcome. Okay, cool. Arachizi's is as well. Right. Everything is safe for work here. No problems. All right. So, there's so much light in your face. Listen, if I turn it off, all right? Hang on, I can actually turn it down a little bit. That's actually a lot better. Wow, thanks, Thomas. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, my camera quality, like my camera quality is like, it's okay, like it's serviceable, but it's not as good as I want it to be. I have a webcam still. I would really, really, really love one of those super HD like YouTuber cams. That would be really fun. But yeah, anyway. We're going to move on to an artist called Yaelokre. And I will give some context for you. This comes from the Discord. I figured it was a window, like light from the sun. No, it's my ring light, unfortunately. There's not enough sunlight here for me to not... I have to use the light. So, to give you a little bit of context for this, for this track. Okay, so here we go. This is Yaelokre. This is the final song of the debut album. So usually the final song is reserved for like a memorable parting gift. Like usually when an artist makes an album, the final song in the album is something that will leave you kind of with a memorable taste in your mouth, basically, or a memorable sound in your head, more literally. So Yaelokre's pronouns are they, it, and they do all of the music, singing, and art themselves. Not much is known about the lore since only one album is out, but here's a copy and pasted explanation of the basic premise from a pinned comment. Okay. So here you go. Meadowlark is a field where everything I foster is kept. From each narrative, song, and characters, it is not a place, but rather a bridge. A story that tells stories within more. A fairy tale. The current main faces are 4 older children in a musical ensemble called The Lark. Their leader, Cole, wears a hare's mask. Their stage partner, Clementine, were the goats. Perrine as the moose, and Kingsley representing nature, a tree, or can be anything really. The 4 perform plays in a small wooden stage with songs that were once sung by the Harkers. The Harkers are a quartet of wandering singers whose purpose is to grant wonder and foretoken, consisting of the storyteller, Yarrow the bellringer, the enkindled, and the croon. All right, so this is basically a it's 4 children who made a band. They wear animal masks and nature masks, and they perform songs that were sung by a band, another quartet earlier than them. So they're just like passing the torch of the music. It's really cool. This sounds really fun. I have not listened to this song yet. I don't know what's coming, which makes this fun. So let's have a listen to Neath the Grove is a Heart by Yaelokre. Lovely. Teeny tiny accidentals making 7th chords. Oh. Second instrument. Remember, it's a quartet, so I'm expecting 4.
The ground rings an unknown strain. Hear the prattle of the birds flying away. The trees sway to the young ones piping. Will you stay to listen to me sing?
Nice.
Seeker, do you ever come to wonder what you're looking for is within?
The melody is syncopating with the instruments. They're playing on different rhythms. Gotta love the cursive singing. Ooh. Little bass line. Lovely. A longer string. That feels better because we've been used to plucking strings and now there's a long violin out there. Nice. I love this. In the break, note that there's now a long sustained note from the woodwind as well. Lovely. That's a well-balanced drum, by the way. Sound editing is like on point. It's not overpowering. Nice and muted in the back. I love it. Is this the same singer? Whoa. The whole timbre changed. That's crazy. That's lovely.
Is where we are now.
It changed again.
Home is where you are. Home is where I am standing.
Cool.
Where I'll be
A tuned bell is always fun. Because it sounds natural, but it's been tuned for this song. That's lovely. I love those isolated moments where you can really focus in on the different elements, the exposed elements of the track. Oh. Nice. The voices harmonizing with each other. So cool. Here we go. If you're paying attention, you can feel that build up, and you know when it's going to drop. You know when all the instruments are going to come in. I love how muted the drum is at the background. It's just audible, but you would miss it if it wasn't there. Oh my God. Wow. There's this incredible flow. I feel like I, as a listener, am in flow state with the musicians. Like it feels like the music is it feels like the musicians are in flow. That's lovely. That's lovely. So cool. So yeah, so flow state, if you are not aware, is a psychological phenomenon where if you are particularly passionate about your craft, if you are doing something creative, it's a phenomenon where it's a phenomenon where like a creative person will get so into a state of deep focus with whatever they're doing that it's almost like they go into a trance. It's almost hypnotic what happens. There's it works with artists, it works with like musicians, it works with like designers, and any kind of creative aspect that you are really passionate about, you can go into this thing called flow state. It's not something that you can bring on, it's something that happens spontaneously. But I think there's a visual medium that described it the best to me, and that was, I can't play it for you because we'll get slapped with copyright, but it is the piano playing scene from Soul. The main character, it happens really close to the beginning, so it's not a spoiler, but the main character, when the main character starts to play, he goes into a state of flow, and it's visually represented really, really well. That, to me, that's the best representation of like what it feels like to be in flow. Like I've had a few moments of that when I've been playing the piano. It's a surreal moment. It really, really is. It's fantastic. Yeah. What's interesting here is that it feels like the musicians are in flow. I feel like they could just keep going here, right? But then it also feels like as a listener, I'm in flow with them, you know? You can they sweep you up in their energy and they really carry you forward. I freaking love it, man. It's so cool. Hydration check. That's very sweet, Taters. Thank you. Yeah. Tots, don't feel shy to rock out to a great a great song, a great piece of music when you hear something that's good. When you hear something that sounds good, it's always good. It's always cool to express it. Right. So this song is a whole journey. The one thing that I'm most impressed with, the one thing that is the most impressive is the start. The singer comes in first with an incredibly, I said it in the track, but with like your classic cursive singer, like your classic indie, indie like folk guitarist. Every sort of indie folk guitarist has a tone that sounds like that. It's very like, it's almost like a trope of like this genre of singing or this subgenre that you have a timbre that sounds like that. But then later on in the track, the voice changes to a completely different tone color. It becomes more clear. It's not so much in the throat anymore. Now it's here in the cheeks. And that sudden change was so cool. Like I didn't notice it until it was actually like hitting me, and the voice was more exposed. And I was like, wow, they really just changed like their entire placement of the voice. So I'm going to show you. This is not something impossible. You can do it as well with enough training. I can't show you with my voice the way it currently is, but I can explain to you how it works. Remember that singing is about placement of your voice. And when you sing, you place the voice in different areas of your body. And that mindset can help you understand how to change your timbre. So for example, timbre means tone color. It's like the way your voice sounds and the way it kind of blends with the sounds around it, right? That's what timbre is. Instruments have timbre as well. So the reason why a French horn sounds a little more soft than maybe the blasting of a trumpet when it's playing loud is the difference between timbre, right? So for a vocalist, for a singer's timbre, it really depends on where you place the voice. You can place the voice deep down in your chest, right? And you'll get something that's more airy, more resonant, something that has more breath behind it. As soon as you start raising the placement of your voice, all the way here is where it can get the most dangerous, because you start to strain your voice when it's up here. But if you place your voice slightly towards the front, it becomes brighter, it becomes wider. The vowel sounds become maybe a little more American as well. Like American speaking tone is very wide and in the cheeks. And as soon as you kind of bring it out there, it becomes a lot more bright. The timbre changes. And then if you bring it to the back of the mouth here, the timbre can become more muffled, like it's right back here, and you can kind of, it's more like you're swallowing the sound, and the timbre changes quite a lot. And then you can go even higher. You can go into a head voice, and then it becomes more hollow and rounded without the air of the chest placement. So the place that you put your voice, when you think about where you place it, will change the way that it sounds, the tone color that it has. It's a really good trick, not just for singers, but also for voice actors. Voice actors can use this technique as well. You can change the way that your voice is placed, and you can get completely different sounds from it. In voice acting, it's called a lever. This is one of the many levers you can pull to sort of change the shape of your voice. But for a singer, it's called placement. Of course, as always, for a good singer, the support should always come from below, from your diaphragm. The support should never be anywhere here. This is the delicate part of your voice. The strong part of your voice should be in the diaphragm below your chest. But the placement of your voice can be anywhere, and you can kind of feel it as it moves up, you know. I can't show you, but if my voice were fine, I would be able to. So yeah, the fact that the singer now does it here is really cool, because they've used the technique to show us, I think they've used the technique to show us that these are different characters. Because remember, this is a quartet. So I'm assuming that each character gets a chance to speak. And remember, the artist does this a few times. Like, they don't just change once. They change, I think, 2 times maybe, that I could tell. And I think that's for the changing characters. So yeah. Yeah, very cool, very cool. That's a nice ukulele you got there. Yeah, Oh yeah, sorry, it wasn't a guitar. I don't know if I said it was a guitar, but I think it's a ukulele. Yeah. I love how they switched their voice style to change characters. We have the same brain cells. That was great. Very cool. I'm glad that we got that together. The switch from the first singing style to Foolish Dreamer hit me so hard first listen. Yeah, let's we're going to listen to it again, and I'll get to that. It's really cool. They talk about this for trans people too. Right. So, yes, I was actually going to mention this as well. If you are trans and you're trying to change your voice to make it sound higher or lower, is to give yourself more affirmation. You pull that same lever, that you work on placement of your voice. You work on whether it's going to be down here or whether it's going to be up here. Because slightly more like feminine presenting voices, slightly more female oriented voices are usually higher up. They're usually placed here in the head. And obviously more male presenting voices are usually down here in the chest. So depending on where you want to go, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool how it works. The human being is like a super complex machine that is capable of a lot and changing a lot about themselves as well. It's really cool. Perrin doesn't sing in this song besides backing vocals, I'm pretty sure. Okay, great. Then, yeah, that's probably why I could hear only 2 changes. So that represents 3 singers, not 4. Okay, cool. This is lovely. This was such a lovely ride to go through, you know? I think one of the most outstanding moments was definitely the vocal changes, but I also love I did find that one of the voices was swallowed a little bit by the louder instruments, which is a little bit unfortunate because I wanted to hear a more exposed voice. But that often happens. We've listened to lots of tracks where the post-processing has like overpowered some instruments over others. Also, it could be entirely purposeful that they just want to do that. So that's fine too. It's just a style preference. But yeah, I thought that for the most part, the balancing of instruments in post was an amazing job. Like they really did a great job here. One of the best things about the balancing was the drums. I mentioned it in the song, but drums are such a loud instrument. It is possible to play softly on drums, but when you're feeling it like this, it's really, it can be really tough because drums can very quickly overpower other things. But the one thing that never overpowers other instruments in this song is the drums. The drums are always kept in the background. They are very subtle. As I said, you would miss them if they weren't there. But when they are here, they are a very subtle and confirming presence that you don't really hear overpowering the other instruments, which I think is really awesome. It's very good technique. So props to the editor, but also props to the drummer himself. Like if whoever the drummer is this a whole band or is it just Yaelokre like doing everything themselves? Like how does it work? If they have an actual drummer, then they've done a great job as well, because that's good skill. It's just one person. Jesus, one person did all of this. Holy shit, dude. God, that's amazing. I love listening to this stuff. The capabilities of what we can achieve as humans is often so inspiring to me, and music is really one of the places I put that inspiration. If that's just them just doing everything, that's crazy. Super, super cool. Most commonly for trans femme folks, as E doesn't affect estrogen doesn't affect the voice in the way T does. So you wish to adapt the voice, then you got to do it manually. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. There's a music video for their song Hardly Hair. Hardly Hair, Hardly Here. Get it? That's cool. And their Insta has a lot of extra art. That's awesome. Yeah, guys, feel free to go check out this artist if you like them. Like this is also one of the purposes of this analysis, is that you find stuff that you like. I'm gonna add this to my liked songs. Oh Jesus, that was really good. Oh wait, click Neath the Grove is a heart. Yeah, I'm gonna add that. That was really, really fun. Okay, are there any other Oh, harpy hair, not hardly hair. Okay, harpy hair. My apologies. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, if there are any other thoughts that anyone else has about this track, feel free to communicate them. We're going to listen to this one more time now that we have all of the context. And if there's anything new that comes up from this analysis, then we'll talk about it while it's playing, and then we'll move on to our Cheesy's one. So here we go. Let's get ready. It reminds me of the end song of Red Dead Redemption 2, the second one specifically. Just that solo guitar on a ridge, like that kind of vibe. Very folksy.
The ground rings an unknown strain. Hear the prattle of the birds flying away. The trees sway to the young ones piping. Will you stay to listen to me sing?
Of Monsters and Men vibes as well, like the woman in the woman singer in that band as well.
Where you hold, will you leave a trail for them to follow a path you'll soon forget?
Little chord progression change up to lead us into the first chorus. Here we go.
How do I begin when
Just sort of leads in.
Ooh,
Chord progression changes too.
You can't remain, will you stay and tell a tale? Would you wanna tear it down to see better?
If you hear it in the background, there's a teeny tiny ukulele as well that's also playing accompaniment to the first one. And the drums come in, so good.
Do not walk to where you were, to where you're staring.
Voice changed.
Listen to the willow, listen to the sound. Listen to my voice, you should hear me now. Be still, be steady, and breathe. How do you begin when the earth is ever changing?
And now it's a younger kid singing, it sounds like. How cool is that?
You can remain. Will you stay and tell a tale, or would you wanna tear it all down to see better? Home is where we are now. Home is where you are.
Bell section.
Home is where I am standing.
Guitar scratching.
I'll be
Lovely.
staying forever.
Shit, that's good.
How do I begin when the roof is ever changing? Always a heart that's still in slumber. You can't remain, will you stay and tell a tale? Would you wanna tear it down to see better? How do I begin when the roof is
Now we
ever
enter flow.
changing?
Ready?
Always a heart that's still
Here we
in
go.
slumber. You can't remain, will you stay and tell a tale? Would you wanna tear it down? Will you see better? How do I begin when the roof is ever changing? Neath the grove is a heart that's still in slumber. You can't
There's
remain,
more.
will you stay
There's
and
more.
tell a tale?
Here we
Would you
go.
wanna tear it down? Will you see better?
Or the bell. Dum, dum, dum. Here, listen for the bell in the background. It was there. The same tolling of the bell coming back. xylophone. Sing it. Little pentatonic runs. Just complete pentatonic scales. Up and down. All over.
Do I begin when the roof is ever changing?
Phenomenal. Actually, it's a glockenspiel, not a xylophone. Yes, thank you. I didn't know that actually. Thanks for the correction. They also voice acted their meeting milestones animatic. That makes sense. It makes sense if they know like this kind of singing technique as well. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate how good they are at capturing a specific vibe. Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, this is really, I feel like this person really gives authority to they, them pronouns. You know what I mean? Like, yes, singular they is possible, but also here they are literally being multiple people in one track. And like changing their voice to be like 4 different characters. That's amazing. Truly like in charge of they, them pronouns. Yeah, that was great. So that was Yaelokre. I've added this to my liked songs already. If you want to go see more about the artist, that's great too. And yeah, that was fantastic. I was listening. I found more stuff in the second playthrough than I did in the first. Like that bell that Ember and I were mentioning there, the ringing of the bell. It comes back later in the later chorus. It's really cool. The 4 characters are supposed to represent them at different stages of life, actually. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Well, I mean, that does explain why. You'll notice that I feel like the character with like hands over their mouth is the one that shouts, like that sings a little bit more high and more youthful in like near the 1 to 2 minute mark. That felt like more of, I think that explains why it felt more like a kid. It was very cool. Very, very cool. That was wonderful. Thank you, Ember. Lovely recommendation. And for the final 30 minutes of our stream, we're going to move on to something a little bit different called apparently diesel punk, which is the genre. Now, diesel punk already puts a certain image in my mind. Having not listened, I don't really know what the genre is, but I can kind of tell, you know what I mean? Like when you read the word diesel punk, you're like, this is going to have like a steam engine in it or something. Like this is going to have like hydraulics and pneumatics involved in the music somehow. Like I'm thinking. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Okay. Would you like to hear some musical context before or after? Well, I mean, yeah, before would be cool. Sometimes I like to not hear it until after, but you've put a little message here. Unless you wanted to, I was going to just read that out in your Discord message. Unless you wanted to talk about it here more specifically, then I was just going to read that. But yeah, this is going to be Blood Red Dogs by Paul Shapera. If you see A3S4, that's just a way of listing the song. It's just A is album and S is song. So this is like the 3rd album, the 4th song. Okay, so the context is it's an album about a city a city called New Albion, which is here, the New Albion Radio Hour, that is currently in the midst of civil war. And in this song, the government soldiers are approaching the rebel base. Oh my God, Luke has to take Red Squadron and blow up the Death Star. We gotta do it, man. Yeah, so this is, so New Albion is a city under siege. And here comes the Empire. This is gonna be cool. The song is a bit different from music of the rest of the album. Music in the album in general is very jazzy. Oh, really? Okay, well, this will be a nice switch up. Let's give it a listen. Okay. Game combat music. Heavy drums, repetitive melodies, setting a bass line early. This is video game music. 100%. Cool. Really good exposure for vocals. I love how they're like definitely at the front of this. Nice.
And we've come here to play. We've come as the butcher to pack them away. The target's beneath us and headed our way.
Very nice.
Here in 20. So look lively mates and expect some more company. Couple sexy machines when they hear that we're here. The rest will convene.
Megaphone sound is meant to obviously be like the announcer. Like the bad guys coming into town, you know? So cool. Oh. Oh, I like this stuff. Yeah, lovely little the vocal effects, the modulators are really doing wonders to tell the story. Makes it really powerful. Ooh. There's people in the left ear, it feels like they're listening to the megaphone. Like the megaphone is saying something about the bad guys, and these dudes are like, no, we're rebels, we're rising up, you know? How cool is that? Oh. And then they unite. So cool. Did they say tally ho?
And so, with the MCG broadcasting the hypnotic song into the soldiers' helmets, they fall under its spell.
Oh, damn.
As the song spreads,
That's
all
pretty
who hear
crazy.
it begins singing, and it slowly but surely moves out into the greater
There you go.
population, spreading across the entire city like a virus.
Oh, lovely. What language is that? It sounds Irish. It sounds like an Irish rebellion, like folk chant. Ooh, halftime breakdown. So good. Ooh, very similar like flow state to the song we just heard previously. Whoa, it just ends like that? That's crazy. Whoa. That's so cool. Yeah. That's really, really cool. I was thinking like 2012 to 2018 Hans Zimmer. Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking like I was thinking it had a similar makeup to like video game mini boss music. And then the voice came in, which is very unusual for video games, but yeah. In the beginning it definitely sounded like it. There's something about epic eighth note string ostinati and a half-time drum kit groove that just hits different. Okay, I'm going to, for people who don't know what many of those words mean, an eighth note is just like a type of note, also known as a quaver. It's just the length of a note, so it's quite a short note. An ostinato, plural ostinati, is a pattern that a section or an instrument has that repeats. So you'll hear the ostinato here when it starts. Hang on. This one. That is an ostinato. It is there as accompaniment, but it also serves as its own melody. So, and it's meant to be repeated again and again and again, and then it will be the backbone of everything. And you're supposed to that's supposed to be the sort of staple of the song. Yeah, it's really cool. Ostinatos are very effective for cinematic music. They're very effective for video game music and things like that. And Pirates of the Caribbean, like talking about video game stuff, movie stuff, Pirates of the Caribbean does a lot of ostinatos. So, that is an ostinato. Yeah, very cool. So, interesting to note that what I would call a flow state, like the sort of hypnotic, like, yeah, we're just going to bang our heads to the climax of this song again and again and again. It can come from such incredibly diverse and different places. So we first listen to something that's more folksy, and then we can listen to something here that's got such like more modern instruments, got some synths and some violins, and it's more industrial. It's more like metallic almost. And you can have the same effect achieved through this genre, which is completely different from the genre we just listened to, and yet you'll have the same kind of vibe. I think that really shows the diverse effects that music is capable of, and how it can make us feel such like similar powerful emotions, but from completely different places. You know, that's really awesome. So. Yeah, the one thing I'll note is that the voices, when the voices come through the megaphone, they are telling the story. And I think there's especially a part that's literally just narrating. Like it just does
And
this.
so,
Yeah.
with the MCG broadcasting the hypnotic song into the soldiers' helmets, they fall under its spell.
So this is it's an interesting social phenomenon. Like yeah, it's a narrator, right? So this tells the story. And I'm gonna go into the lyrics for a little bit, and then talk about how it plays with the music. So the lyrics here, the words of the narrator, specifically talk about a trance that the loudspeaker has. It's sort of broadcasting a song that puts people in a trance. Now, when you are part of an empire or an occupying force or anything like that, the occupying force's authority has to constantly drum it into you. It has to constantly indoctrinate you and educate you into their way of thinking. Just like every second of every day, you have to be under its spell, quote unquote, to the extent that it can literally, like if you are raised from a young age to believe these sorts of things, it will literally alter the development of your brain. And you may become a fully functioning adult who believes, you know, incredibly oppressive things to be true, when they're not, with all of your heart, like just because that's the way that your brain grew up developing, right? This education is incredibly powerful. We underestimate it every single day. All of the worst people in our society have been educated in some way into that way of thinking. They weren't naturally like that. So education absolutely played a role. There are some, obviously, like some notable exceptions. Like psychologically, you could be born with something that puts you at a more of a sort of tendency to gravitate towards certain behaviors of things. But for the most part, it is education that makes us who we are. And I'm not talking about school. I'm talking about everything in your environment that you get, that gets filtered into you as a kid. Your brain develops in that way. So how does this relate back to the song? Well, in places of oppression or occupation or things like that, the occupying force must almost continually hypnotize its enforcement squad, its police force, its military, its militia with the same rhetoric over and over and over again. No details about it, no like clarifying questions or quantifications or anything like that. Just the same rhetoric, just pumped into your brains again and again and again until there's no room left for questions. And that, in the middle of a conflict, let's say, can feel very much like hypnosis. It can feel very much like a trance. We, in great crowds, humans have been known to do crazy things together. It's called a mob mentality. It's a very easily observable phenomenon. You put a bunch of people in a crowd. I'll tell you the easiest example of mob mentality. I'm going to go to a sidewalk on a busy street. I'm going to stop where I am, and I'm going to stare up at the sky towards the nearest building. And I'm just going to wait. Eventually, someone will follow me, and then another person. And pretty soon, I'll have a whole group of people looking up, and no one will know what they're looking up at. That is the best example of mob mentality. It's been shown many times. And in more serious or more violent scenarios, this is what the narrator is referring to. This is the kind of stuff that they refer to. So now I'm going to turn this back to the music. How does this relate to what we're hearing? Well, the narrator specifically talks about the hypnosis, the song of hypnosis that is spread across to all of the soldiers as they go in and, like try and take out these rebels. And this is why the music is the way it is. This is why I said this is video game music. This is why I said we love the ostinato, like why Alex said that. Because it is repetitive. The chorus repeats, the voices repeat, the harmonies repeat, the strings repeat, the drums repeat. It is repetitive because it is hypnotic. And this last moment here,
Spreads.
this is not the same as the song we just heard. This is a different flow state. This is mob mentality hypnosis. That's what we're hearing. And you can hear that something is wrong at the end because the instruments are kind of playing chromatic notes up there and the voices are just staying the same. Even though the instruments start to get more and more funky down here, the voice stays the same and it starts to clash and it starts to sound a little bit weirder. It's a completely different kind of flow state from a completely different source. And it is designed to be that level of repetitive because it should put you, if you find yourself in this song, if you find yourself headbanging and then at the end you're like, damn, this has gone on for quite a long time. Like this is a lot of headbanging I'm doing and there's not much like huge change or anything. It's just kind of, I'm just kind of doing the same thing. Good. That's the design. That's how it's designed to be. If you are headbanging, you are doing what the song wants you to do, which is get into that trance, get into that state of hypnosis so that it can, it's like an exercise in like manipulation, right? So yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting from it anyway. Feel free to, agree or not. But this is definitely what I feel from this music, for sure. So yeah, I think this music definitely uses the value of human behavior to influence its music and to get us into a state. I'll tell you why I said video game music as well, because video game music uses this as well. Video game music is designed to get you to listen to it without really thinking too much about it. You're supposed to listen to it while something else is going on. It's good background music, and that's what makes it like really well composed. It's really good. Yeah. So I'm hearing that same repetition here, and of course it's purposeful for me to hear that. Or whenever the cops are around, the entire street will congregate around the cops. Happened this afternoon, top of mind. Yeah. Absolutely. When everyone sees, like when an ambulance drives by and stops where you are, a crowd will gather. Where there's a fire somewhere in a building, a crowd will gather. I mean, people want to see these things, obviously. But crowds are, people follow. It's very interesting the patterns that we do, the patterns that we use, like in human behavior. I also love how in the chorus you can hear how it spirals and you can hear each soldier switches their song one by one. Yes, that was really cool as well. So remember they're talking about how basically it converts soldiers to like one cause through this hypnotic song. And I think through here, I think it's here. So that little dale dale thing is the rhyme that is meant to be repeated and repeated and repeated, and then slowly.
The stars on our helmet should soon go away. This new RCG that transmits
Wait for it.
will revolutionize tactics, but it's foggy as hell. Ignore the sound music. Stay stop singing. Darling, oh, we come to play.
And that's it. And then it starts to adopt, and then the whole chorus takes it. So they're singing something different, and then eventually they all sing the same thing again and again and again. And that is what happens when something is so oppressive that you have no choice but to listen to it. And then it becomes your only truth because you have no diversity of environment around you to challenge what you're being told, which is why diversity is so important in our lives. We must have that diversity of thought. All right. It's the worst kind of echo chamber. So that's kind of my main thing that I would say about this. I think this is very powerful. It's really cool. Some context for motives. The Dale motif evolves through the albums. Interesting. First version was in previous steampunk album, was much more cheerful. Interesting that it's taken on a completely different meaning in this one as well. That's really cool. I like that. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much, Arachizi, for this recommendation. It was lovely. Because it was just a bunch of teenagers who just founded their new religion, and here they're trying to fight the government. Damn. Wow. They really have, they've kind of escalated, you know? Awesome. Awesome stuff. Okay. That brings us to the end of things, but I'm going to listen to this song one more time. We're going to listen to it again, see if you can pick up some of the stuff that we've talked about, see if you can pick up anything different, and we'll get on out of here once this is done. Thank you for joining me for another music analysis stream. One last listen. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. I love these harmonies.
We've come here to clean up and we've come here to play. We've come as the butcher to pack them away. The target's beneath us and headed our way. He'll be out here in 20, so look lively mates and expect some more company. Couple sexy machines, when they hear that we're here, the rats will convene. They cannot resist you. They want a night of mayhem, so shoot all who come here on sight.
Nice. I really like these vocal harmonies. They're very satisfying.
Ready to transmit the MCG. Get the policemen. Put the policemen up against the MCG.
Here we go.
Minutes till we get to play. The stars on our helmet should soon go away. This new RCG that transmits to you men will revolutionize tactics, but it's foggy as hell. Ignore the sound music, stay focused instead.
Ignore it, stay focused.
Tear this up, piss down the necks. Do not stop singing. Darling, oh, we come to play.
He says, the megaphone says, don't start singing, and then he starts to sing. So cool. Like he can't fight it anymore. You could see this in two ways. You can first see this in how the oppression creates hypnosis in its echo chambers and things like that. But you can also see this from the other side, in that a message of revolution can only be ignored for so long before others will take it up.
And so, with the MCG broadcasting the hypnotic song into the soldiers'
You can
helmets,
still hear the
they
beat.
fall under its spell. As the song spreads, all who hear it begin singing, and it slowly but surely moves out into the greater population, spreading across the entire city like a virus.
There comes that halftime breakdown again. And the very definite, like, stepwise movement of the music. Bang, bang, bang. That chord progression is so popular. And then it just ends. That's great. That's really, really cool. Yeah, so that groove, as Alex has said, near the end, the drums play a half-time beat, which is half as fast as what they played before, but it's still the same tempo. It just doesn't sound the same. It sounds like it's slower, and you can kind of headbang a little bit more slowly as you go. What I think is so interesting about this, though, is that you then have a very common chord progression. Dum, da dum, da dum. You've heard that in lots of songs. You can't tell me you haven't. And it's obviously purposefully chosen because, again, just like everything else, this is meant to be hypnotic. This is meant to be like a trance that you're in, you know. So yeah, that's it. That was Paul Shapera. That was the Blood Red Dogs. Yeah. Go away, Nail. There we go. Alrighty. Everyone, I think that is enough for today. I have spoken for long enough. I do hope that you have learned something today and that you are able to take home a little bit more musical knowledge with you based on the things that we've talked about. And I hope that you've enjoyed everything that we've done, all the songs that we've listened to. And go ahead and add those songs. Do more research into the artists if you want to. But yeah, appreciate all the requests from Taters and the Kids to Aracheesy to Ember. Lovely requests as usual. The next time, if you have any music requests, you can put them in the music requests channel in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, you should do it already. You should do it now because it's very important. This is where we all hang out. And when I finally go on my very long 2-month break, I'm going to be hanging out there. So if you want to chill with me there, then you can do that. And with some of the other people that are there as well, but it's mainly me. It is 11:55. Thank you all so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate it. I will see you all in roughly 48 hours from now on Saturday morning. We'll be doing, I think, tabletop stuff. Let me check. Yeah, it's tabletop stuff. So we're doing tabletop stuff on Saturday morning, and if my voice will handle it, we'll do some political education and stuff in the evening as well. We're going to talk about something I think is very important to know, especially for like modern history and modern politics. So make sure to be there for one of them if you want to. And goodbye, Tots. Goodbye, everyone else. Make sure that you are hydrated, that you're kinder to yourself than you're currently being. And I'll see you in the next stream, where we do it all over again. It's 11:56. Take care.